The Viking of the Yukon Tony Beet has been a fixture on the gold rush since its early days. His unrelenting quests for gold and his non-nonsense attitude have made him a legendary figure in the world of gold mining. Though he is no stranger to striking it rich in the world of gold, he's been stirring up a whole lot of dust in the Klondike now. As you know, mining for gold is a tough and unpredictable business. So what has Tony been up to? Has he struck it rich beyond his wildest dreams, or has he faced the mother of all setbacks? So let's have a wild ride through what really happened to Tony Beets from Gold Rush. He's ready to breathe life into his 75-year-old gold factory. The ship is ready to sail, so let's put it in the water, see if we can dad some gold with it now. Gold Rush fans couldn't help but adore the bearded miner Tony, who never holds back and always aims for success. This reality show tracks family-run mining outfits as they hunt for gold in Canada's Klondike area. Their journey is filled with challenges like weather woes, equipment hiccups, and clashes of egos, but the spotlight shined brighter on the outspoken Beets. Yet there's plenty about Gold Rush Tony that might surprise you. Tony Beet, the gold mining guru, had quite the journey before he hit Yukon's gold-rich territory. Born in Wees, Netherlands on December the 15th, 1959, Tony's life started far from glittering gold. Tony's childhood was as humble as it gets. Raised in a Dutch farming family, he knew the value of hard work from a young age. Tending to crops and animals taught him discipline, diligence, and how to make the most of what you have, skills that would later prove invaluable. Though Tony's formal education remains a mystery, one thing was clear: he was crazy about machinery and engines. Even as a kid, he tinkered with gadgets. Little did he know these mechanical skills would be his ticket to gold. In the early 1980s, Tony did something bold. He packed his bags and left for Canada, more specifically the Yukon Territory. His gold, of course. He started his journey as a regular miner, working hard in different gold operations, but Tony had bigger dreams. He didn't just want to be a miner, he wanted to be the miner. His big break came when he invested in the Indian River claim, which later became part of the legendary Eureka Creek mine. This move was like striking gold figuratively and literally. It turned out to be one of the best decisions of his life, catapulting him to fame and fortune. The horizontal grower bars on Mike's D10 provide traction, but they're worn down, making it impossible for the dozer tracks to grip in the slick, muddy conditions. In those days, Discovery Channel, the network behind Gold Rush, was on the lookout for interesting and skilled miners to feature on the show. They were interested in showcasing the challenges and success of real gold miners in the harsh conditions of the Klondike. At that time, Tony Beets had already established himself as a highly successful and experienced gold miner in the Yukon. His mining operations, particularly the Eureka Creek mine, had yielded substantial gold and earned him a considerable fortune. His reputation in the mining community made him an attractive candidate for the show. Given his track record and expertise, Tony received an invitation to join the cast of Gold Rush. The producers likely saw the potential for compelling television by featuring a seasoned miner like Tony, who had a reputation for being a non-nonsense, hard-working individual. My biggest concern is a fuel. I don't know how much this burns. Going to burn a lot. That's not something I want to hear. Just off the top of my head, I bet we'll probably burn 10 gallons an hour per engine. So he made his debut on Gold Rush in the second season of the series. He brought not only his mining expertise, but also his unique personality and management style to the show. His no-frills approach and memorable onliners quickly made him a fan favorite. Viewers have been able to witness his mining operations, interactions with his, and the challenges he faces as he seeks to extract gold from the Yukon's unforgiving terrain. Tony Beets is all about that classic gold mining method, dredging. In season 5 of Gold Rush, he pulled off a wild stunt, moving a 75-year-old dredge from Clear Creek to the Indian River, a jaw-dropping 150 miles away. And if that wasn't enough, he splurged the cool $1 million on a second floating industrial dredge. Oh my gosh, this is brilliant. This is what you're talking about, kid. Jail. Yeah, that's baby prison. This is Monica's gold room. Now, though Tony's every move on the show was memorable for his fans, in 2014, he pulled quite a stunt that didn't sit well with the officials. Mining is not exactly a friend to Mother Nature, but usually the environmental damage happens behind the scenes. Tony and his crew decided to get a bit creative. They poured a whole bunch of gasoline into a dredge pond, and well, they set it on fire as sort of a spectacle. Now, this wasn't the smartest move, and it got Tony in trouble with the law. After the episode aired in 2015, Beets found himself facing charges under the Yukon Waters Act. The fines stacked up, and they weren't cheap. It was a whopping $31,000 in total. Tony got all fired up, giving a rousing speech in front of the flames, but in reality, he wasn't as gung-ho as it seemed. He kind of gave a half-hearted approval to the idea that was enough to get him in trouble. He admitted that as he was the man running the show, he should have been a little bit more careful with everything, so it was a bit of a joke that went wrong, and they all ended up in court with some hefty fines. Once during Gold Rush, the most wealthy miner ran into major issues when he got banned from the Indian River, which the television network deemed as one of the most gold-rich areas in the Yukon. Tony made many efforts to get a license to mine the Indian River, and after 2 years the reality TV staff faced hardship when he got noticed their license had been denied. As far as the associated problems which accompanied the license denial, Tony said it threw off their income, their plans for work, and where they next needed to bring equipment. He revealed that the lack of license cost him and his company millions upon millions of dollars. According to his reports following the news, those issuing the license for the Indian River wanted Tony and the Gold Rush crew to rewrite and resubmit another application. Nevertheless, the crew reined in an impressive $400,000. Despite the hardships and frustration, Tony had no regrets in choosing his line of work. Beginning life in the Netherlands, Beet, accompanied by his thick accent, began mining near the same area after learning of the riches available in the Yukon. However, the star was Canada-bound, heading to the Yukon bordering the eastern line of the US. Alaska, we don't have a water license. They have to leave Den hide a water permit. He tried again the next year in his home country Netherlands. They call Tony Beets. Tony Pete, because on the show his words can get a bit spicy sometimes. He says things that are tad too much, and the folks in charge of the show have to bleep out some of his words. However, Tony's a real tough cookie, and that's why he sometimes seems a bit gruff and not too polite. Gold Rush crew was also sometimes unhappy with the old red-batted guy. Christo Doyle, a former producer of the show, didn't shy away from airing his grievances about Beets' collaboration. While Beets is undeniably a seasoned miner, there were moments when he seemed more elusive than a nugget in a fast-flowing creek when it came to being available for crucial filming. Tony and Minnie Beets have been a team for a super long time, like more than 30 years. They started dating when they were young, got hitched a bit later, and now they have 4 awesome kids named Monica, Bianca, Mike, and Kevin. Sadly, they also had a baby girl named Jasmine, but she left them when she was just 2 months old back in 1992. When it's not the mining season, Minnie does some fancy bookkeeping at a place called Paradise Hill and sometimes take care of the kids at home. Not only that, the Beets family also hangs out in Arizona when they're not up in the Yukon digging for gold. You'll be surprised to know that Tony Beet, the man of the family, is rolling in the dough with a cool $15 million in the bank. Most of that money comes from digging up gold, and he even rakes in some serious cash, like between $25,000 and $50,000 per episode, by showing off his gold digging skills on a TV show called Gold Rush. Besides owning a bunch of gold mines up in the Yukon, Tony and his family have a sweet house in Arizona where they kick back and relax when they're not chasing gold. No doubt Tony Beets' legacy is one of hard work, success, and the passing down of mining expertise from one generation to the next. His contributions to the gold mining industry and his presence in popular culture through television have solidified his place in history.